This is the Ravishing One, HBJ, here to bring episode 3 of the Ruck Rants. Hold on, I had to turn off my music, which today on the Ruck is Audio Slave's first debut album, self-titled. Great album from top to bottom. In my eyes, one of the top 5 greatest singers in any band in rock and roll history. Sad that Chris Cornell had to go like he did and when he did. I'm sure he had plenty in the tank as far as music and songs went, but as Ray would say from the Trailer Park Boys, it's the way she goes, boys. Sometimes in rock and roll, mental health, things like that happen. It's sad. Wish there could have been another outlet. I think the world was robbed of a stellar dude and some great music in the future. That being said, there's 1,000,001 topics to bitch, moan, and complain about today. Today's Ruck Rant is about the new generation and kids and their piss poor work ethic, their piss poor work attitude. I'm going to say that the pandemic didn't help things, allowing people to work from home, making people lazy, working on their own schedule, doing their own thing. Especially now that it's over, a lot of people continue to want to work from home because it's convenient for them. I happen to be in an industry and a trade where that's not possible. I'm a union iron worker out of Local 1. You can't build buildings or bridges from home. You actually got to be there. You got to put in the work. You got to put in the hours. You got to put in the effort. But things don't get done. But I was watching a YouTube video the other day. It was an actual interview of a man who had a business in a high-rise downtown Chicago when the pandemic happened, and everybody wanted to work from home, and they made everybody work from home. Once all the restrictions were finally lifted, he couldn't get people to want to come back to work. They said they liked it better, it was more convenience for them, and they just weren't going to do it. Which directly affects me, because in reality, why would people want to build high-rises and skyscrapers downtown if they can't rent the office space? And why would people pay for that office space if most of their work they could have these guys do from home? But, that all being said, he was kind of hamstrung. He said, yes, I ain't got to pay the rent on the high-rise office space, which is pretty expensive. But now I can't get people to come into work. He said, yeah, production didn't drop off entirely too much. It did, but not entirely too much. He said, but there's really no accountability. He goes, when you have to come into an office every day, it's accountability. You got to be there. If you're not putting in the work, it shows. People know, quick, fast, and in a hurry. When you're working from home, you're more susceptible to being lazy because, for one, you ain't got to get dressed. You do everything in your underwear, your pajamas. 2, when you're at home, let's face it, How many times have you just sat there on the couch procrastinating on doing things because you're at home, I'll do it later. When you're at work, there ain't no procrastinating. You're at work, you work. It's the way things work. And I totally get it. And this generation that had to come up in this shit, and they're being handed everything and told, you're a winner no matter what. You're the best. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you're not a winner. I think it all started with participation trophies in sports. When I was younger, played baseball, basketball, played all sorts of sports, football. If you weren't first, second, or third, you got a ribbon. First, second, and third got the trophies, everybody else, try harder next year. Sometimes teams were stacked. It's just the way it was. But it still taught you. You got to work for what you got. Because you ain't going to be given a trophy every time. You ain't going to be on the all-star team every year. Just because your dad's a coach doesn't mean you're not going to make the team. You're not going to make the all-star team. You had to put the work in. At least back then. I know all the dads that were coaches in our leagues as far as basketball and baseball and everything else. They didn't want to be embarrassed. Kids had to practice their ass off. They had to put in the time. Because I'll be goddamned if my kid is the worst on the team and I'm putting out the time to coach the team. And I don't want to hear it from the other parents. Why is your kid playing? He sucks. I don't think there was a kid in the league whose dad was a coach. I remember my friend Ted Neemley, Big Jer, he was good. Big Jer was the coach. Mike Hamer, my buddy Danny, kid was good. His dad was a coach. Jimmy Grabner, one of the best baseball players I ever got to play with, be around. His dad was a coach. I wasn't too shabby myself growing up. I didn't get to take days off. I was at the field every day hitting balls, taking ground balls, taking fly balls. It's just the way it was. Now, they have even more at their disposal to be better. It's just not like that. We had to put work in, and if we didn't, we weren't good. I didn't realize that full circle until I started wrestling. That sport, 100,000%. If you don't put in the work, you're just going to get stuck every single time. And if you don't get tired of it, getting stuck every single time, one of two things is going to happen. Nothing's going to change. You're going to keep getting stuck. You're going to get tired of it and you're going to quit. But nowadays, they allow kids to quit. When I was younger, you don't quit something until the season's over. You never quit something you start. This all ties in to work and work ethic, because kids are lazy. Kids come to work, they don't want to work. Kids take days off work. Kids come into work late. It's unbelievable seeing how many young kids have this attitude. Like, you can't talk to me that way. I ain't gonna deal with it. I ain't gonna put up with it. Well, what are you gonna do? You gonna quit? You gonna fight somebody? When I was an apprentice, I got treated like an apprentice should be treated. I was called a punk, amongst a lot of other swear words. But I would like to think, based on the old timers that I talked to once I got older, I had the respect. Because I never missed a day of work. Showed up every day, I worked hard, I never missed. I never was late. To this day, I get to work extremely early. Because, God forbid there's an accident. God forbid I blow a tire, something happens. I have enough time to fix it so I can get to work on time. I didn't play games back then. You didn't want to show up, you didn't want to be on time. Plenty of guys that do. You're replaced. You're burning up bridges. You go through the rest of your career being one of those guys who's constantly not working. I just so happen to come up, and I would say one of the best times you could come up as an iron worker in Chicago. Some of the best iron workers that there were. And I'd like to say a thank you to a handful of them. Billy Stone, Danny Crow, Todd Kodecker, who taught me not to be afraid of heights. Bubba, Danny Nagel. There's so many I could name. Nick Kraychek is the first person to ever teach me how to weld. The first person to give me a shot in a raising game. Brian Clementi, one of the best bosses, if not the best I've ever had. Always looked out for us, always took care of us. And always had good guys in the gang I was able to learn from. I was able to work hard. It made me keep working hard. And I kept that through my career. I don't ever want to show up to a job and have somebody think I'm not working. I'm not putting in a day's pay. You're not going to be balls to the wall great iron worker every day of your life, or whatever you're doing as far as your work is. You're going to have your days where you're off, mentally, physically. It happens. Nobody's impenetrable. Not even HBJ. But you got to put a lot of that aside, come to work and give them hell every day, the best you can. What I happen to do for a living is physical. A little bit mental. But a lot of the mental you could block out and make it physical if you're a maniac like me. Me and my buddy Dan Samardzic had a conversation the other day. Some people are able to use their brains to be able to find better ways to do things, to be able to not be Mongoloid cavemen, and then there's some people like us that are just Mongoloid cavemen. They go to work and pound shit away, make it happen. But whether you're in the trades, you're in an office, you wanna be good at what you do. Have some pride in what you do. You fucking chose that living. Whether you like it or not, you chose that living. There's a lot of time I didn't like being an iron worker. It's not always fun. It's not always good. It's hot as fuck. It's cold as fuck. You're outside all year round, working in the elements. You're high as fuck. You're muddy as fuck. You're dirty as fuck. You're tired as fuck. Working 7 days a week till your eyes bleed. It happens. And if you don't like what you're doing, pick something else. Nobody said you're stuck there. So I'm sick and tired of seeing people in high school level jobs crying and complaining. Oh, we need to make more money. I can't make a living at McDonald's. Raising a family. No shit. It's a high school job. If that. I've been doing what I've been doing since I was 19 years old. I'm 42. Took a couple, 2-3 years off. Actually 4. Joined the military. So I'd had enough iron work. When my wife got pregnant, I went back. That's not to say I didn't give it a shot doing something else. If you don't like what you're doing, get the fuck out. Do something else. No one's to say you can't go back to school. Work a full-time job, go to school online, go to school at night. Yeah, your life's gonna suck for a little while. Yeah, you're gonna struggle. Yeah, you're gonna be tired. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck now about the situation you put yourself in. I didn't put you in that position. You did. Fix it. Don't wait for other people to do stuff for you. It's goddamn annoying at this point. So sick and goddamn tired of seeing people on the news, people on YouTube, people on Facebook videos just bitching. They want something for free. They want people to do things for them. Bullshit. Go do it yourself. Nobody's gonna hand you shit in life. Unless Biden stays president forever. That son of a bitch wants to give everything, which he says is for free, but the working class, the middle class pays for it all. That's the goddamn truth. Because they're always gonna raise taxes on the middle class, whether they say they are or not. Because the middle class is the one that works the hardest, works the most. Maybe if we weren't such punk asses too, I'm gonna put a little blame on my generation. Because just like I said earlier, I had some great old timers and bosses to hold me accountable. Make sure I did the right thing. Make sure I came to work and worked. Make sure I learned. That's big too. You want to just keep yelling and screaming at these fucking kids without teaching them what the fuck they need to do to succeed. 2 things are going to happen. 1, they're not only going to be shitty apprentices or entry-level people, they're going to be shitty journeymen or upper-level people. Because they had to learn everything on their own when you had all this knowledge just spill into them. Or 2, they're going to remember you were an asshole and they're going to be your partner one day. And they're not going to give a Frenchman's fuck. For me, I love the fact that we have such a great and strong union. I want to see this thing go on forever. There's a lot of pride here. And if we don't teach these young kids how to work hard and be good iron workers, it's going to go away just like everything else. Everything's going to end up being non-union. There goes history. That goes for everything. That goes for certain jobs, certain office jobs. Yeah, you can go to college and do all your book learning. But there's nothing like on the job. A lot of stuff you're going to learn on the job. Yeah, book learning's a good base. It's a good way to learn. But you ain't going to learn like you're going to quite learn on the job. And from people who've been doing it. Not to say everyone who's been doing it knows what the fuck they're doing. You could have somebody work at something for 30, 40 years and been doing it wrong the whole time. But for the most part, it's a good benchmark to learn from somebody who's been doing it. So in the end, it's up to us, people with experience, to help teach these kids, slap them in shape, knock off their fucking attitudes, get them to shut the fuck up and learn. And it's up to these kids to want to do so. These kids got to want to come to work. They're going to want to make money. They're going to want to have to learn so they can be better at what they do. The better you are at what you do, the more money you're going to make, period. End of conversation. It's the way it is. I don't care what you do for a living. So, to end today's Ruck rant, I want to tell people of my generation and people younger than me, first, the older people, step up your fucking game. And the younger people, same thing, step up your fucking game and want to do something with yourself. Because nobody's going to fucking do it for you. At the end of the day, it's your own fucking life. You want to be known as a shitbag your whole life, that's fine. You want to be known as a lazy motherfucker your life, that's fine. But in my case, being in the trades, just don't get nobody hurt or killed. And if you're in an office position or a business, don't close up somebody's business because you're a scumbag. Go to work, do your job, work your ass off, and be known as that guy. Alright. Like I said earlier, today's music brought to you by Audio Slave. Rest in peace to Chris Cornell. Top 5 greatest singers of all time. Great band. Currently playing Show Me How to Live. And then I'd like to always, as I do, give a shout out to Bravo Company, 50 Deuce, 101st Airborne, greatest unit, battle ribbons, the whole 9 in the history of the military. As always, the rant itself is or is not, may or may not be approved. But as always, whenever you throw a ruck on your back and go for a walk, that, sir, is John Tyndall approved. One of the greatest military men I've ever had the pleasure of knowing, and my friend. This is the HBK Papa Pass. Out.